This is Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Let's bring you up to speed with what's tracking and what we're tracking in the polity. About 24 hours after the impeachment of Lagos Assembly Speaker Mudashiru Obasa and the emergence of first female as successor, a deep dive into the legalese around the politics of Lagos State. Rivers State High Court restrains the People's Democratic Party executives in the state from parading themselves as Exco following the nullification of Congresses that produced them. Welcome again to the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Of course, the last 24 hours or so has been quite busy with politics, from Rivers to Lagos down to the nation's capital, Abuja. But naturally, before getting to what's going on in Lagos, let's talk about Rivers State, where a state high court sitting in Port Harcourt has barred the Rivers State executive of the People's Democratic Party, led by Aaron Chukwuemeka, from parading themselves as ESCO of the party in the state. In a ruling on an interlocutory injunction delivered by presiding Judge Justice Stephen Jumbo, the case, which was filed by two Port Harcourt-based legal practitioners, Edwin Woko and Love Otoya, and two others, who are members of the PDP against the party's national chairman, the state chairman, and 9 others, are praying the court to declare null and void the purported PDP local government ward congresses conducted in the 319 wards and 23 local government areas by the pro-Wike supporters on the 20th of July, the 27th, August the 10th, and August the 31st last year, 2023. The applicants had contended that all the congresses were done in disobedience to a court order of the Rivers State High Court issued on July the 16th, 2024, stopping the PDP, INEC, as well as their agents and privies from conducting congresses pending the hearing and determination of the originating summons already filed. This ruling is coming on the heels of a similar decision last year, which nullified the ward, local government, and state executives of the All Progressives Congress, which had produced Mr. Tony Okocha. So as we always say, highly litigated when it comes to politics of Rivers State. But let's come down to Lagos. It's the day after the third-term Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, who had been a member of the House since 2007, Mr. Mudashiru Obasa, was impeached, accusing him of multiple statutory and financial infractions. Mr. Obasa served from June the 25th up until he was impeached on Monday, January the 13th, 2025, becoming the second longest serving speaker in Lagos State. He was subsequently replaced by his deputy, Mojisola Miranda. Mrs. Miranda, who represents Apapa State Constituency 1, was a former chief whip of the House and now makes history as the first female speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, while Mr. Mujid Fatai is now the deputy speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
It's an emergency plenary session at the Lagos State House of Assembly, one that culminates in the impeachment of the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa. Allegations against him are numerous, following a motion moved under the matter of urgent public importance by Femi Said. The former Speaker faced accusations of a litany of infractions ranging from gross misconduct and poor leadership, which includes perpetual lateness to legislative sections and meetings, high-handedness and lack of regard of members, gross abuse of office and privileges, intimidation and oppression of members.
Always in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being.
Without wasting time, the former Deputy Speaker, Mojisola Miranda, takes the oath of office as the first female Speaker of the House, with Fatai Mojid coming in as the new deputy.
So help me God. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The clerk of the House, Olalekan Onofeko, is not spared as the lawmakers suspend him for alleged financial misconduct.
Mr. Onofeko be suspended to pave way for investigation into the alleged financial impropriety that is of interest to this House. I so move.
The new Speaker, Mojisola Miranda, assures the House and Lagos residents of putting the people first in any decision taken.
Right Honorable Mojisola Miranda, the Speaker of the 10th Assembly of Lagos State House of Assembly, promise to work with each and everyone and operate an open door policy. Continue to work for our fellow Lagosians, Lagos residents, everybody, and also work with other two arms of government, the executive and the judiciary.
Congratulations. The lawmaker representing Epe Constituency 1 says change is the only constant thing in life and the people must embrace the new leadership of the House.
The Constitution made it clear that the House has the power to regulate its proceedings. So the members of the House felt they've had enough of the Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, and today we have unanimously agreed that Right Honorable Mojisola Miranda last but become the new Speaker of the House. So it was a resolution concurred to by all members of the Parliament, and so be it. We cannot open our eyes and allow this Parliament to dwindle. We hold the constituents a duty, and we hold Lagos State a duty of ensuring that the sanctity of the House and the integrity of this House is restored.
Mudashiru Obasa is the second longest serving Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, who served in that position between 2015 and 2025. Before his impeachment, he received the 2025 budget estimate presented by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu in December last year. Mudashiru Obasa is now a floor member of the Lagos State House of Assembly.
Well, that impeachment of Mr. Obasa may have come as a surprise to many people, but for some prominent leaders of the APC here in Lagos, it appears to have been long overdue. And that's according to Faud Oki, who is one of the party's leaders in Lagos. Speaking on our program Politics Today, Mr. Oki explains that the former speaker has been at loggerheads with members of the House and some others.
Events of the last 3 weeks or thereabouts, it became obvious that the best thing that can happen to the state, and particularly the parliament, the legislature in Lagos, is for him to step aside and allow, a fresh infusion of leadership at the parliament. So I think this is something that's been expected the last 2-3 months, particularly the last 2 weeks. It became very obvious that there is need for a change in the leadership of the parliament in Lagos.
All right, so that's perhaps the biggest political conversation right now in the country. The Lagos State House Speaker who has been impeached, and a woman, Mojisola Miranda, has now emerged as the first female Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly since Lagos. This is the first time, literally, in history. But we have to go back to what played out as to how things got here. But we'll focus more on the legalese and also about the politics. Let's bring in our guest, legal practitioner, Mr. Alan Shawore. He joins us from Akuredi on the state capital. Mr. Shawore, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get your take on what is playing out in Lagos broadly before we get out to some of the legalese that I would like your intervention on.
Yeah, it's in politics, even generally, change is inevitable. And now we have that biggest news coming from Lagos that the Speaker of the State House of Assembly has been removed. So we have to cope with it, and I want to say congratulations to both of them. He is one of the most successful Speaker of the State House of Assembly that Nigeria has ever produced.
Okay, let's talk about some of the legalese. They have mentioned the fact that financial infraction, high-handedness, disrespect to the governor, and all of that. I'm going to go into all of that as much as time allows. But let's talk about the summary termination of a Speaker of the House of Assembly. If you go to Section 92, if my producer can roll it up for me, Section 92, subsection 2C of the Constitution. I want you to give an interpretation to this section, because this is where we look at and say, from what the law, the nuances of the law appears to say, the House members, they don't need any reason to impeach a speaker. If they wake up on the wrong side of their bed and they're able to put together a resolution and get that to third, they can remove a speaker. Is that what the law is saying here?
Yes, absolutely. By the virtue of the provision of Section 92, Sub 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and other relevant laws, including the House Standing Order, the Speaker of the House of Assembly of any state in Nigeria can wake up in the morning as a speaker, resume in his office, and come back in the evening as ordinary floor member. What the only condition that is necessary by the provision of this session is the 2/3 majority. They do not have to give any explanation. In most cases, what the legislator does is to name that nebulous allegation misconduct. How do you interpret misconduct? Even if you eat as a speaker from your house, or you eat only from your wife, the majority of member, 2/3, as this case may be, could be interpreted as misconduct. In other words, the majority can say, why don't you eat from other women? Why are you eating only from your wife? So that is the implication of that session. So it's just one condition. Yeah. Third majority. Yeah, this guy is gone. Okay. That is class captain. First among equal.
Okay, because this was brought, so I got to know about this section closely when a speaker of the, I think, Cross River State House of Assembly was impeached. And one of the people that moved the motion, I was talking with him on the show, and he said, we don't need a reason. For whatever reason we are giving, is just a moral argument. Do you see that as a lacuna, giving the House members what I consider an open-ended latitude of discretion to remove speakers and deputy speakers summarily?
No, you see, the Constitution is kind enough. The election of a Speaker of the House is by a simple majority, while the removal is 2/3. That is rigid enough, because you need constant change, even within the House, for a kind of checks and balances. If you have a speaker that cannot be removed, or the process of removal is too cumbersome, and then it becomes a monarchical arrangement. But all the members of the State House of Assembly or the National Assembly are elected, they are equal. So they decide within themselves or among themselves to elect one of them just to lead them for a while. Or sometimes if he behaves well, if he can please all of them, 4 years. But if they have any reason, I think that 2/3 majority is rigid enough. It's not easy to gather the signature of 2/3. In other words, divide the House into two parts. We now remove the speaker. That is democracy. Democracy is about majority.
So you do not see this as a lacuna. It's okay in your books.
It's okay as I'm concerned. In fact, I do not see the reason why a man who is elected among his peers should occupy the position of speaker for too long. So what happens to the other people who are equally elected? When are they going to benefit from the seat? let alone he cannot satisfy his peers. So it's not a lacuna. It's stringent enough. Even in a country where they practice parliamentary system of government, where the prime minister is elected, they impeach the prime minister almost with the same process, let alone the leadership of the house.
All right, so let's talk about the relationship between the executive and the legislature. Depending on who you're speaking to, it will be interpreted differently. I want your own interpretation. On one hand, people are saying Mudashiru Obasa had gone overboard by disrespecting the governor. He went to present a budget, kept him out waiting, and the leaders of the party for like 4 or 5 hours came, didn't extend courtesy, and then began to make assertion as to it's not as if he's not competent, but that is not within his radar. And they also referenced the issue of when the House of Assembly received the nominees for commissioners, they rejected about 17 of them before some intervention happened and all of that. So what do you see when, forget the disrespect and the verbal, maybe some of the excesses, perhaps, quote unquote, of the speaker, but what do you see as a lawyer? Did you see a strong check and balance or an overbearing leader of the legislature?
It's not overbearing. In Nigeria, we have been complaining about the legislative arm. In fact, we normally call them rubber stamp. So for me, seeing the leadership or a speaker who can reject the commissioner nominee of a governor, it shows that the Nigerian legislature or the legislative arm of government in Nigeria is developing. In terms of development of legislative arm of government, we categorize them into 3 or 4. We call them reactive, proactive, or marginalized. The legislative arm of government is still at the stage of marginalized or reactive. But if we have actions like what the Speaker of the State House of Assembly in Lagos have been able to do by rejection of commissioner nominee, they are becoming proactive, active. So it's a welcome development. I do not see it as overbearing. The legislative arm of government in democracy is the most powerful. They have to screen even the judicial officer, including the chief judge. They have the power to budget for the governor. They have the power to remove the governor. I hope and wish that the legislative arm of government in Nigeria will come to the realization and the consciousness of their power. And the moment they understand this, Nigerian democracy will be more strengthened, particularly the oversight function. If the House has the power to remove a governor, and we have so much executive recklessness in Nigeria, so it goes to show that the legislative arm of government or the legislator, the Nigerian legislator, still have more to do.
Let's talk about some politics mixed with the legalese, and I want your intervention on this particular one as well. What does it portend for democracy as far as the law is concerned? There's a GAC, the Governor's Advisory Council in Lagos State. I want you to define it, because on one hand, they are saying that is the cabal that controls power in Lagos. On the other hand, they say it's a force for stability. Others are calling it the APC clearing house for whatever is going on in the state. I'm saying this, putting it around the interest of the people. Is this in the best interest of the people to have this level of force? Because we understand that the GAC had met with the president on the side complaining about Obasa, the former speaker, and things actually snowballed and got to where we are today.
Definitely that cannot be in the best interest of the people. But you know, in Nigeria, you cannot remove this what is called no-state actor. The constitution is very clear about the structure of a state government. The executive, which the governor is the chief executive officer of the state, the legislative arm by the speaker, and the judiciary, which are the chief judge and other judges. So, but in Nigeria, we actually have what you just described as the cabal, but I call them the non-state factor or the non-state actors, who in talking ultimately who decides in most cases even what happens within the formal sector. So I am not surprised that we have that strong structure, political structure that which is informal, which is not recognized by the constitution, but which regulate the activities of the government. But definitely, as much as a lot of people may hail it, it can never be in the best interest of the people. But it's good for maybe the leaders. It's a kind of clearing out, just like you have said, because the governor, the politician may not have enough time to sit down with all the political interests, to reconcile all political interests. So they go all out to form this structure, which is the ultimate decider of political permutation. It is only in Lagos, just that the Lagos zone is now recognized, almost becoming institutionalized. But I say again, that cannot be in the best interest of the people.
So what
it will only serve the interest of the politician, the leader.
So what does this say about intra-party dissenting voices? Because less of the excesses, of the alleged excesses of the speaker.
Yes. Lagos is a very big state, and it's a state that has been controlled by the same party for a very long time. So that is why some of these things are playing out. But your question about the intra-party, again, this is an opportunity for opposition political party to come and be more active, or if possible, proactive, because the role of opposition is to ensure that the government is put or is told to do what is right. So democracy is about opposition putting.
Oh dear, I wish he could just land on his thoughts. I deliberately do not want to drag him into the core politics. Just let's stay with the legalese, because a lot of politics is actually developing. Of course, you know that in the mix of all this is the issue of Mudashiru Obasa's ambition to succeed Sanwo-Olu, and there are so many names that have been mentioned, including the president's son, the former Speaker of the House of Reps, some other political bigwigs who are trying to succeed Sanwo-Olu. So that conversation will be for another time. But I must thank you, Mr. Alan Shawore, a legal practitioner who joined us via Zoom from Akure, the Ondo State capital. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Let's now move on to other stories before we wrap up the program. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. Akayode Egbetekun, has tasked strategic managers in the Nigerian Police Force to improve on their anti-crime strategies to curb all forms of crimes in the year 2025. Speaking during a virtual conference with the force strategic managers, including tactical commanders, CP's Assistant Inspector General of Police, and the Force Management Team, IGP Egbetekun emphasized the importance of conducting police duties with the highest level of professionalism, stressing the critical need for enhanced specialized training for criminal investigation department to boost efficiency and thoroughness of the force's investigative capabilities.
Last year we recorded reduction in crime in some states. We also recorded increase in crime in some other states. I want this year to be better. Comparing what happened in 2023 with the figures we have in 2024, I would say that overall we didn't do badly in 2024, but there is room for improvement. In those areas where we had increase in crime, I want us to have decrease in crime this year. And in those other states where we have decrease in crime, I want crime to be further decreased in year 2025. And to do this, we must start now. To be able to achieve this, we have to start now. I've already sent out signals to all command CPs to come up with your action plan for the year 2025 aimed at reducing crime in your state. I expect that before the end of this month, the month of January, I will receive your action plans. It is not just about receiving action plans, it's about your commitment to those things that you have identified you want to do and the strategies that you want to employ in achieving what you aim to achieve.
Now, 7 persons have been confirmed dead and 5 people injured when gunmen attacked Taraba community in Karu, local government area of the state. Governor Abdullahi Sule visited the community to commiserate with the people and approve the establishment of military super camp in the community that's in Nasarawa state. Our correspondent Halima Gayam has a report.
Enough is enough. The youth of Tatara community of Panda development area in Karu local government area of Nasarawa state expressed their feelings with placards following the latest attack on the community by gunmen. The youth are not deterred by the heavy security presence as they protest the death of 7 members of the community during the attack, which also left 5 persons injured.
Unexpected, we don't from nowhere. We just started to hear the sound of gun from nowhere, and from there they started to killing people unexpected.
Governor Abdullahi Sule visits the community alongside the Commissioner of Police and other security personnel to commiserate with them. He approves the establishment of a military super camp to cushion the security challenges of the area.
We are responsible for your security, and we will continue as a responsible government to continue to support you and do whatever it is to bring peace to Tatara. Not just because of the crisis that you are having, but Tatara happens to be a border town. And we have already started working long ago about ensuring that we have a military super camp right here in Tatara.
The Commissioner of Police promises the people that those behind the attack will be apprehended and made to face the law.
I'm assuring you as a police commissioner in this state, we will make sure that all those who have committed this heinous crime must be fished out and they must be dealt with.
The community is deserted, women and youth in despair, while some others are making their way out. However, the youth are promising not to retaliate the attack.
We want to assure you that the youth of Tatara Kondoro will not in any way retaliate this attack.
Governor Sule tags the attack as unnecessary, maintaining that his administration would not tolerate any disruption of peace. Halima Gayam, Channel Television News.
And that's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.